I want to talk to you about education. Every politician wants to talk about education. Education this, education that, okay? Well, I want education to be real. First of all, we've put a lot more money into education. We've got the largest increase in K through 12 in a decade. But just throwing money at education isn't going to fix it. Because we know, look at some of the statistics. We've got a 30% dropout rate from kids that start in the 9th grade and can't make it to the 12th. 30% dropping out. So we're not getting everything we want. And we need to fix it. And we have been working at fixing it. And I want to tell you about a couple of the provisions. Number one, we've instituted a 3rd grade reading guarantee. Folks, get this. When a kid couldn't read in the 3rd grade, you know what we did? Put them in the 4th. Now that's really smart, right? I can't swim in a foot of water, but I'm going to go and jump into the Atlantic Ocean and try to swim 10 miles to shore. We know that the 30% who drop out, 60% of them couldn't pass the 3rd grade reading guarantee. Now we don't want to just spring tests on people, and we don't want to hold them back in all their subject areas, but a kid learns to read so that the kid can read to learn. And when they can't read, why don't I just come in and make a speech in Greek? You would all be gone. And so the fact is that we're now saying we're going to start in the kindergarten. And the 1st and the 2nd and the 3rd grade will work with school districts so that our kids can read. It's critical. And we're also looking at additional programs in early childhood for those people that need it, where we want the kids' brains to develop early in life and we don't lose them. So it's important. Now we also have what's called an A through F grade card. Now I'm going to exaggerate this a little bit, but you know, you may have a school up here that's excellent with distinction. Let me tell you how we rank them now. Excellent with distinction, almost excellent with distinction, excellent, trying to be excellent, and close to excellent. Those are the ratings. Got it how we're doing? Okay? But we don't know how we're doing. So what we're going to do now is we're going to measure a student's progress. What did the student know when they started? And what did the student, how much did they gain throughout the year? And the better they do, the better grade the school district's going to get. So we're going to have an A through F grade card. Not designed to punish anybody, but basically designed to let mom and dad and the school community know how the kids are doing and how the school's doing, so we can fix things. We also have a brand new program that people around the country are talking about. We have put $250 million in a program, and thank you legislators, called the Straight A Fund. This is a program that will allow school districts to apply for a grant, and they will get one on this basis. 1, they're reducing their costs. 2, they're improving the quality of education for the children. And 3, it's sustainable. If it doesn't meet those 3 criteria, they're not getting a grant. So I don't know what your school's going to do, but remember what the criteria is. Because it has the greatest possibility to bring about innovation and change of any program we've seen. And we're excited about it, and it's up and running, and the process is underway. We think it's important. Let me tell you another thing. The most exciting school reform that I have ever seen in my lifetime, and I've studied this stuff for many, many years, is the Cleveland School Reform Program. What they have done in Cleveland is they put the superintendent of education in charge of the schools. He's like the CEO of the school district. He determines who teaches, he determines the physical structure of the buildings, and what they're doing there is unbelievable, and it's become contagious. Columbus has a school reform plan. I just got a call from Youngstown, and what I would say to you, if your school districts are looking for change in a dramatic way to improve education, you let us know. You call me, you tell them, we'll pass it through the legislature. Because we want to raise these schools as high as we can. In addition to all of that, we are emphasizing and have put a lot more resources in vocational education. And we think that's critical. And the reason is not that we should say that somebody's not fit for college, but what we do know is that sometimes college doesn't need to happen when a student is 18 or 19 years old. I am a believer that the Lord has given us a game plan, personal game plan as to what we should do. I happen to believe that we're all cut out to do certain things, and when we find out what those things are, we should pursue them. And the same is true with education. Some kids were taught how to build one of these tractors. Some kid was taught how to wire a hotel. Some kids were taught to weld things together. And so giving skills to our students and making that available to them, and also giving them the opportunity to further their education down the road, would mean that we would have more relevancy for our kids. Now, we are going to be introducing in the first grade occupations. We're going to tell first graders what a farmer does, what a fireman does, what a policeman does, what a teacher does. Because, frankly, I get a little tired of 7- and 8-year-olds telling me they want to be a professional soccer player. And that's fine, but what are they going to do when their career is over? So we want them to start thinking about what they might do, and we want to take our students and get them in an area where they can seek their passions and based on the jobs that exist in our regions. And that's why we're now involving the community colleges and the 4-year schools to work with us so that we can have a menu list for our students so that when they go to school, they don't drop out. There is nothing worse than going to college for 2 years and quitting. You don't have a degree, you have big bills, and then what do you do? So we want to make sure that we are bringing the reality of a job into the calculation of education. So education starts to become real to all of us.